For this video, we're going to work on adding decimals using shading. So we're going to basically be creating models based off of these tenths grids, and then eventually we'll move into our hundredths grids as well. Now, these are called tenths grids because, if you notice, they're cut up into 10 sections. We got 10 on this one and 10 on this one as well. So they're great for showing the decimal tenths, or the place value decimal of decimals tenths. If I wanted to show, let's say, 0 and 3/10, then all I would do is shade in 1, 2, 3 of my strips to show 3/10, because we have 10 strips here, as I said, and we've only shaded in 3 of them. So this could be the decimal 0 and 3/10, or we could use it to show the fraction 3/10, but we're not going to worry about that right now. What we are going to worry about is how can we use this to show addition. So let's say we have 0 and 3/10, and we want to add to it, I don't know, let's say 0 and 4/10. So what I would do is, I already have my 3/10 shaded in. Now I can shade in 4 more. And I'm going to use a different color to show the difference. 2, 3, 4. Now I have 3/10 in blue plus 4/10 in red. And if we count up all of our strips that were shaded, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, we're going to get the sum to our decimal addition problem, which ends up being 0 and 7/10. If you're wondering or thinking, hey, that's pretty easy, you're right. It isn't all that difficult using our shadings. So it's just, like I said, 3/10, shade in 3 of them, 4/10, shade in a different 4 of them, and then count them all up. And we end up with 0 and 7/10. Let's try a different one. So this time we're going to try to add 0 and 6/10 plus 0 and 5/10, or 6/10 plus 5/10. So let's start just like last time, and using our blue to match the color, we're going to shade in 6 columns. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pardon my shading, it did not work as well as I wanted, but we have 6 different columns shaded in here to show 6/10. Now, let's do our 5/10 in red. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and notice I've run out of columns. That's why I have this second 10th grid over here. This is where I can put my 5th and final column. So I'll put it over here. Here's my 5th 10th. And now it's up to us to interpret what this model means. If you notice, I've shaded in every single column in this 10th grid. So what we have here is one whole. What we have here is one whole. So when we put in our, and that should be an exclamation point, when we put in our answer down below, we're going to have a whole number in the ones place instead of a 0 like we do with our individual decimals. So our answer ends up being one whole, and now we've got this 1/10 over here. This one little guy just means that we have 1/10 in our answer. And our answer ends up being 1 and 1/10. Alright, try this next one on your own if you have 10th grids, or I'll leave them up on the screen and you can just try to visualize what it would look like. So now we're going to try and add 7/10 and 9/10 together. Go ahead, pause the video, fill in your own grids if you have them, or visualize them as we try to work this out. Go ahead, pause the video, and good luck. What you've hopefully worked out is that, well, 7/10 is going to take 7 of our columns, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 9/10 is going to take 9 of them, so 1, 2, 3, I've run out of columns in my first 10th grid, so now I got to do more in the second 10th grid. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So now we have one whole grid, just like before. So our answer ends up going into the whole numbers, so one whole, and then count up how many we have in our second. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 tenths, so 7 tenths plus 9 tenths gets us 1 6/10. So that's pretty simple, I think. Here's the problem, though. We're not always going to have numbers that go just to the tenths place. We're going to have to deal with hundredths, and that's what we're going to look at next. So now we have here hundredth grids, and if you were to count up every single little box, we would get 100 in each one. So each little square is 1/100th, meaning it looks like this, or it's worth this, 1/100th. And just like in our past model, each column, either going up and down or a row going left to right, is worth 1/10th, which looks like this. So we have tenths all the way up and down, and we have hundredths, one little box. So let's see if we can add using these hundredth grids. So this time we're going to try and add 17 hundredths in blue to 34 hundredths in red. Now take a look at our numbers. We have 1 in the tenths place and 7 in the hundredths place. So when we start to do our shading, I'm going to shade in one full column. Whoops, that's not red, or that's not blue. One full column in blue, and I'm going to shade one box for each hundredth, which is 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So right here is our model of 17 hundredths. We have 1/10, just like we have in our number, and we have 7 individual hundredths. Now we need to shade in 34 hundredths, which is going to take 3 tenths and 4 hundredths. So this is going to take some thinking, because I'm not the person who likes to leave boxes empty. I like to fill everything in. So I have 3 hundredths left over. So I'm going to shade in my first of my 4 down here. So I have 1, 2, 3. So now I need to shade in 31 hundredths more, because I shaded in 3 hundredths right here. So now that I have a full column, let's take care of those tenths. So I need 1 full tenth, 2 full tenths, 3 full tenths, and now all I have left is 1 of my hundredths, because I have 10, 20, 30 hundredths, 31, 32, 33. I need to get to 34, so I need to do one more, and he's going to go right there. Now, if we count up all of our columns and all of our individual hundredths, we'll get our answer. So let's count them up. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tenths. Whoops, that's a 5 whole number. We need to put a 0 in our whole numbers because we don't have any full grids. And we have 5 tenths. And now for our hundredths, we just have one little guy right there. So that is 1/100th. And it ends up being that 17 hundredths plus 34 hundredths ends up being 51 hundredths. And we have our model right here to show it. Pretty nice. Let's try a new one. This time we're going to add 67 hundredths and 49 hundredths. Start off just like before, and let's take care of our tenths. Let's take care of these tenths here. So we got 6 tenths in blue. So 1, whoops, make it look more like a highlighter, there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 tenths, and now we need 7 hundredths. So I'm going to color in 7 individual boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Here we have 67 hundredths. And now we're going to add to it 49 hundredths. And just like last time, I don't like leaving boxes unfilled. So I have 3 boxes, so I'm going to fill in 3 of my hundredths with the red first. So that's 1, 2, 3. So now I know I've filled in 3 of those 9 hundredths. I still have 6 hundredths to fill in at a later time. But now that we have a full column, let's take care of our tenths. We have 4 tenths to take care of. So 1, 2, 3. We have a full hundredth grid, just like when we had our full tenths grid. So now we got to move into our second one, which is going to show us that we'll have a whole number in our answer. So I did 3 tenths. Here is my 4th tenth. And now I got to do my hundredths that are left over. I already used 3, 1, 2, 3. So now I have 6 left to go, because this would be number 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I've shaded in 1, 2, 3, 4 tenths, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 hundredths. And if we add all these up and look at our models, we're going to find out what 67 hundredths plus 49 hundredths is. Since we have our whole hundredth grid, our answer is going to start off, whoops, let's get the actual pen. Our answer is going to start off with 1 whole. Now, if we look into our next hundredth grid, we have 1 full tenth. So our tenths becomes a 1. And then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hundredths. So we're going to have a 6 in our hundredths place. So we have 1 and 16 hundredths. There we go. 67 hundredths plus 49 hundredths is 1 and 16 hundredths. Let's take a look at one more before we call it quits on this. For this example, I'm going to show one alternate method that we can use for coloring in our hundredths grids. Now we have 38 hundredths and 94 hundredths, and we're adding them together. This alternate method you might like a little bit more. I'm still going to color code things, so this will be in blue and this will be in red. But we're going to separate it mostly just by our place values. We're going to focus on just the tenths, and then we'll focus on our hundredths. So let's look at our tenths here. We have 3 tenths in blue, so let's color in 3 tenths in blue. 1, 2, 3. Now before, we would start automatically coloring in our hundredths. But like I said, we're going to focus on just the tenths now. So let's take care of our 9 tenths in red. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This hundredth grid is completely filled in, so we have to move to our next one. We used 7, so I have to go 2 more, 8, and 9. So now I've taken care of all of my all of my tenths. I have 3 tenths in blue, and I have 9 tenths in red. Now we can focus on our hundredths. I need to put in 8 hundredths in blue. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's our 8 individual boxes to show 8 hundredths. And now I just need to put 4 hundredths in red. So 1, 2, we finished up that column, so I got to move to the next one, 3, and 4. And there we have it. We have shaded in our addition problem of 38 hundredths plus 94 hundredths. Either way that I've shown you, either shading in the entire decimal at first and then working on the second one, or like we just did where we focused on our tenths and then our hundredths, works just as well. It's your choice which way you want to go about doing this. This way, the way we just did, might be a little easier because you don't have to worry about filling in part of a row with your hundredths, then focusing on your tenths, and then going back to your hundredths. This way, you take care of all your columns, and then you take care of your individual boxes. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it useful. And in the next video, we're going to learn how to add these together without any of these models. Hope to see you there. Enjoy.